This is Justin back with an engineer's perspective. I'm just going to do a touch-up sharpening on my Takamura 210 Gyuto in the Chromax. Got the Naniwa Pro or Chosera 800 here. It's definitely not a true 800 grit, it's finer than that. It's finer than both my King Neo 800 and my Shapton Pro 1K. The Shapton Pro 1K is probably closer to like an actual 700, 800 grit. So we'll call this maybe like 1200 or so. And so yeah, I'm just gonna do a touch-up sharpening on this guy. Now this Chromax steel is pretty brittle. Run at like 64 to 65 Rockwell is the advertised target. And so I do best with it at a slightly higher angle, maybe in like the 14 degrees per side range, as compared to maybe some other Japanese steels. You could go lower. Yeah, it's a semi-stainless steel with maybe like 7% chromium, boatload of carbon. It's a setup to get very hard and not have too many consequences over the fact that that it's got that chromium and is an ingot steel, so not going to be high carbide to add any extra detriment to that toughness. I forget, there's probably very minor amounts of vanadium in the tenths of percentages just for grain refinement in there. I forget what else, but it's a nice steel. It's a lot like a blue super, just a little bit less tough and stable, but also less expensive, which is kind of the intent behind it. Yeah, so there we go. Just raised a burr on both sides. I'm gonna wash up and I'll be right back. All right, up next is the Shapton Pro 5K. Once again, on the theme of stones just being, you know, named one thing but acting completely different. This 5K is probably a little bit coarser. All the Shapton Pros are like that, where they kind of oversell themselves. I'm told it's probably closer to a 4K. My only other example to compare against is my Chosera 3K, which I'm also told is more like a 4K. They do kind of meet in the middle, but not quite. Whereas this stone gives a higher polish than the Naniwa will, and the Naniwa will cut slightly faster. But this stone is easier to finish on, and it leaves a higher polish. So visually, not so much an edge aggression is there a difference, but just visually. I think part of that too is it doesn't really release much slurry, not much to speak about, whereas the Naniwa releases a teeny tiny bit, and I do feel like that's why you kind of get a even hazy finish on the Naniwa, whereas here you can get stray scratches a lot easier, and if you don't line up your scratch pattern you can tell, but it does just really bring up a brightness better than the Naniwa does. Yeah, it's just better at kind of burr reduction and not generating quite as big of a new burr. Okay, so I didn't do burr reduction between. It was a small burr, I don't think I really needed to. And I just flipped the burr while keeping it small, so it's much smaller off of this stone than it was off of that 800 Chosera. Just gonna do some stropping strokes, nice and light. I don't like to do just stropping strokes for all of my burr reduction and elimination because I just don't really believe in it, or it takes too long. Trying to decide if I'm gonna wash this stone off or if I'm just gonna kind of wipe it. I usually like to get rid of any kind of swarf, metal swarf or slurry buildup before I kind of do my edge leading passes here. Let's get her extra moist. Very light pressure, less than the weight of the knife. I'm not necessarily drawing it across the whole stone as I am just trying to kind of catch that burr. So I'm almost drawing the knife straight across, like just like that, not so much like that, if that kind of makes sense. Just trying to catch that burr. This is generally not a very temperamental burr at all. That's not really the feeling I'm going for. So it's just about hitting your angles right. Just trying to go a little faster. I'm really bad at the reversed hand. You know, I'm good with left and right ambidextrous, but I can't this direction with my right hand. Oof, it's pretty weak, so that's kind of a dangerous game for me to play. Okay. Let's see what we got. Okay, that's quite a bit better. Yep, we're good there. And basically when the burr is on your steel, you can, when you're doing your finger edge test like that, and you're drawing against it, you can feel that it's really like rough, like it'll feel super grabby, but it's not like, oh wow, my edge is so aggressive. It's just you've got a flappy piece of foil on the edge, and so I actually feel a reduction in aggression when I know it's clean. So we're just gonna strap. Some final cleanup. I've been kind of doing a fun thing where I've been cycling through all my kitchen knives, and so I just got done going through all of my kind of German chef's knives and santokus, and now we're on to the Japanese knives. I know it sounds fun, right? Yeah. But you know, I'll just use it till I get tired of it, but like really force myself to like get a couple weeks behind it again. Otherwise I normally change flavors up every few days just because I'm that kind of guy. Okay, super sticky. Nice and clean. That is Chromax to the T for you. Shave myself. Just try not to cut myself. Yeah, it just grabs right in to the hairs on your arm. Probably would whittle a hair. I don't know for sure if it would, but sharp as hell. That's how much time I'm gonna put into it. So love Chromax. The value and how nice it performs. It holds that fine edge for a long time, and how easy it is to work with. Great steel. Love it. Do recommend it. Yeah, that's all I've got for today. Have a good one. Bye.